What's up, everybody? Welcome to some Temmet. If you're a hard M person, but that's not how you say it. Anyway, let's let's cover what Temmet does at the beginning of combat on your turn. Okay, let's re-rack. We're good. Okay, at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature token you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn, and it can't be blocked this turn. He also has the embalm ability for 5. Sorry, I don't know why saying the Temmet with the hard M is just, man, it just makes me laugh. It's some good old-fashioned fun. But all right, let's break down what the deck does. Let's break down what Temmet's role in the deck does. Temmet's role in this deck is more of a support commander. If you're building Temmet, if you're looking to build Temmet, you can definitely go blue-white tokens. You can go flicker blue-white. Just get into spots where you're just generating a bunch of tokens. You can go intangible virtue. You can go phantom general. So going a token heavy build with Temmet is you can definitely go for that. This particular build, I wanted to go more of a blue-white control style deck. So Temmet is really more of a support commander. He's very important to the deck because he allows us to he gives us a win condition outside of just taking care of blowing everything up on the battlefield and countering a bunch of stuff. He gives us a clock. So we're looking to get Temmet down, get one of our tokens onto the battlefield, and then he's going to give them unblockable. We can just slowly swing in and deal combat damage each turn, 5 to 6. One of the best win conditions for the deck is going to be Batterskull. So we get down Batterskull. Temmet gives the Germ token unblockable. It's a 5/5 or 6/6 body. You're going to swing in. That 6 lifelink's going to really just give you a nice little cushion zone, and you'll be able to slowly kind of close the game. It's almost like a celestial colonnade out of the command zone. That's kind of the best way to think about Temmet for this build of the deck. But if you want to go heavy tokens, you want to go just wide tokens, you can definitely go that with Temmet. But just as you know, going through this deck tech, this is a control style build of Temmet. That's what we're going for. Now, as far as his embalm ability, this is a really cool, unique ability. He has embalm for 5. Most of the time, when you get down to Temmet for 2, if he dies or something happens to them, you're almost better off letting him go to the graveyard because he's going to have an embalm ability for 5. Now, he can go back to the command zone and you can cast him for 4, which is going to cost 1 less mana. But the best way to think about this is not an aggro deck. You're not looking to close the game out in 4 or 5 turns. If you can, awesome, but that's not your game plan. You're looking to just very slowly, wrath anything they get on the battlefield, then start going beat sticks with tokens. So let's say you get Temmet down, something happens to him, he goes to the graveyard, you embalm him for 5, then he goes back to the command zone. Now you can recast him for 4. Another good thing about the embalm, it costs 1 more mana, but it's like you're saving yourself a little bit of a reduced commander tax down the road by casting it for 5 out of the graveyard. Now, one of the cool things about the embalm ability, let's say you're playing against a control style deck yourself. Temmet goes to the graveyard. There's one game where I needed to cast Temmet to give one of our tokens unblockable. You let him go to the graveyard, that embalm ability is an activated ability, so you don't have to worry about your commander going to the command zone and getting countered coming out of the command zone. So if he's in the graveyard, you go for the embalm ability. The only really way they can deal with the embalm trigger is going to be something like Trick Bind or Stifle if they're going to go for activated or triggered ability style counter, and usually you don't see a lot of that in Commander. You see a lot of counters depending on the deck you're playing against, but you're not going to see that much activated or triggered ability like counter style spell. So it allows you to get into spots where it's late game and you just really need your commander to resolve. You can just simply embalm him out of the graveyard and he is good to go. Now, as far as the token enablers, these are the cards that are going to allow us to get into a win condition. So we have Master Splicer. Whenever it enters the battlefield, create a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token, and then golem creatures you control get +1/+1. We're probably running about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're running about 8 different token enablers in the deck, and a lot of them are just kind of like once we get it down, this is our main threat. We're pushing this as our main threat. Now, I chose Master Splicer over the Blade Splicer because it's going to come in as a 3/3 body, but at the same time it gives us that nice little bonus. So it's a 4/4 body, and then with Temmet, it's going to give it a nice little +1 and unblockable. So we're looking at a 5/5 coming across from one little Splicer token. Now you add some of your artifact equipment on there, you're good to go. But mainly what we're looking for in the tokens in this deck is a nice little beat stick that we can swing in. We're also running Talran Sky Summoner. This is a really good card that, let's say that we're not hitting our Voltron pieces. I'll cover the Voltron pieces here in a second. There's a small Voltron package. But let's say we're not hitting our Voltron pieces. We can get down Talran and just turn our Sphinx Revelations, our Remands, our Counterspells, our Cantrips, just turn them into 2/2 Drake creature tokens with flying. And usually that's more than enough to kind of close the game out because we're swinging in with a bunch of flying creatures. So Talrand's in there to just get some extra value off of some of our spells, but at the same time, we can kind of close the game out with Talrand. And Anointed Procession, ooh, pretty good. We're also running a Johnny Gold main, a Johnny Gucci main. +1, you gain 2 life. -1, put a +1 counter on each creature you control. Now, if we're on the Talrand, yeah, and those creatures gain vigilance until end of turn. Let's say we're on the Talrand, Anointed Procession plane, we get down a Johnny, really good. But also the -6 ability. Create a white avatar creature token. It has this creature's power and toughness are equal to your life total. So it's going to get a, let's say we're at 20 life. We're going to get a +1 bonus on it. Be 21 coming across unblockable. Sounds pretty good. I had thought about running the Dark Depths Thespian Stage combo. Excuse me. I ended up not running it in there, but that's definitely something you could run in the deck as far as getting a nice little 2020 Merit Lage token onto the battlefield. That's definitely something you can run. I don't know, there's just so many times where we want to have our cantrips online turn 1, and we want to tap out for a Wrath, or we want to go for Sphinx Revelation. So I might end up putting it back in there. But yeah, I took it out. I just wasn't a huge fan of it. Actually, excuse me one sec. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so we have a Johnny Goldmain. We're going to use the -6 ability. But yeah, you can definitely run the Dark Depths combo in there. But yeah. All right, next one, we're running the Grip card. Love it. Did not get to cast it in my gameplay videos, but I'll be recording more Temmet, so hopefully we get to cast it soon. Gain control of target equipment, then create a 0/0 germ creature token and attach that equipment to it. It's like Voltron in a can. Love it. Take our opponent's Sword of Fire and Ice. Well, actually, if we take the Sword of Fire and Ice, protection from blue and red, right? Let me see. Yeah, protection from blue and red. I had that in here, but that protects our germ token from Temmet's ability. So you got to watch out for Sword of Fire and Ice. Ended up taking it out, put it in for Sword of Body and Mind. But yeah, long story short, grip card. So we gain control of our opponent's equipment. If they're running Voltron, then we can grab their key piece. If we can also use it as a way to, let's say they're swinging in with an Alpha Strike, and we have a few tokens on the battlefield, we can gain control of one of their equipment, and then sorry, my cat was laying on my foot. I didn't know what that was. But yeah, so we can gain control of their equipment and then have a nice little Voltron token to swing in next turn. We're also running the Summonings card. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create an excess colorless artifact creature token, where X is that spell's converted mana cost. We are playing the long game with this deck. We're running a lot of Wrath counter spells. So let's say we get down the Summonings card, we tap out for a Sphinx Revelation for like 10 mana. Next thing you know, we have a 10/10 colorless artifact creature token that we're going to be able to give it a +1 and unblockable. So really good card for the deck, and it suits our control style, just kind of sitting back game plan really well. Running Batterskull in here, living weapon, enters the battlefield, put a 0/0 black germ creature token on the battlefield, then attach it to it. Solid commander card, solid magic card in general, and this is usually one of the main targets that we're going to go for to help us close the game out. It has vigilance and lifelink +4/+4, and it's really important to the deck to kind of help us close it out. We're also running the Scythe Claw, living weapon, once again germ token. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, then whatever deals combat damage to a player, that player loses half of his or her life rounded up. So it's a really good way to, let's say that we do have a bunch of Drake tokens on the battlefield. We can give this one particular token unblockable, swing in, they're going to lose half their life total, and then we kind of close it out with incremental token damage after that. We're also running Anointed Procession, really good card. Feels really good if you go for an Entreat the Angels with this on the battlefield. Maybe you should watch one of my gameplay videos. Anyway, if a effect would create one or more tokens under your, basically it's just doubling season. You put a token on the battlefield, it's going to double the amount of tokens that you're going for. This combos really well with the Treat the Angels. It's just really good value. We're also running Trophy Mage in here. Enters the battlefield, search your library for an artifact. Actually, that is on the Voltron package. Let's go over to the Voltron package. We are running Sword of Body and Mind. And quick creature gets +2/+2, has protection from blue and green. Whenever deals combat damage to a player, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token, puts the top 10 cards of his or her library onto the battlefield. I did run Sword of Fire and Ice. It does give protection from blue from Temmet, but let's say that we get into spots where we just need a token, we can't get a token going. We can attach this onto something and then get that token. We did run Sword of Fire and Ice in here, but Temmet stops the unblockable. At least with the Sword of Body and Mind, we can get that token onto the battlefield, then have a token that we can put other stuff on there and kind of swing in and go from there. We're just looking for different ways to just make sure that we always have something that can swing in for anywhere from 3 to 5 damage. Great card in the deck. Running Sword of Feast and Famine has protection from black and green. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card and you untap all lands that you control. Really good. We're running cards like, I keep bringing it up, but it's just a really good card in the deck. Sphinx Revelation. Connect on, tap all of our mana, connect on Sword of Feast of Famine, retap your mana, and then tap out for a really big Sphinx Revelation, and that'll It's usually more than enough to kind of win the game for you. Really good. We're also running Lightning Greaves in here. Equipped creature has Haste and Shroud. Good way to make sure they're unblockable. I mean, not blockable, but they're protected. It does kind of cut us off the Temmet game plan, but let's say we just need to protect that Battle Skull or something like that. We're also running Swiftfoot Boots. Equipped creature has Hexproof and Haste. Pretty plain and simple. Uwazama's Jitte. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage, put 2 charge counters on it. Then remove a charge counter from it. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 until turn. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. You gain 2 life. We're pretty much giving our token unblockable. Uzama's Jitte is a really good piece of equipment for the deck. It allows us to kind of just have nice utility on one card, and it's unblockable, so we're always going to have those charge counters on there. Now it's Trophy Mage's time. Whenever it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an artifact card with mana cost 3, reveal it, and then put it in your hand, shuffle your library. It's a good way for us to search up one of our sword pieces, and also we have a few other kind of artifact ramp cards at 3. So let's say we're in a spot where we don't really need the Voltron package. We can grab those artifacts and kind of help us ramp into something. Okay, now we covered Temmet, the token enablers, the Voltron package. Let's go over to the token spells that we're running in. Running Secure the Waste. This is a beautiful card in the deck. We're looking to play the long game. We're looking to blow our creatures up turns 4 through turn 6. So by the time we get to turn 5, 6, 7, we're looking to tap out for a Secure the Waste for anywhere from 5 to 10 tokens, depending on how long the game is gone. And usually that's enough to kind of help you close the game out. I mean, 10 1/1 creature tokens swinging in each turn. They're going to have some chump blockers, but if you follow up a board wipe with one of these the following turn, you got yourself a nice little clock. We're running Entreat the Angels. Lovely card for the deck. Create X 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying. We can hard cast it if we want to, but most of the time we're looking to get into spots where, let's say that we have Mystical Tutor or Personal Tutor. We're going to put this on top of our library, and we have a couple different ways to draw cards at instant speed. So let's say it's our opponent's turn. We can go for a Brainstorm and then go for that. Get those angels on the battlefield for cheap. Then if you have Anointed Procession on the battlefield, Angels love them some Anointed Procession. We're also running Phyrexian Rebirth. Destroy all creatures, then create an XX colorless horror artifact creature token where X is the number of creatures destroyed this way. So it's really good. Let's say you're playing against Krinko and they've got 100 goblins on the battlefield. Go for Phyrexian Rebirth. You get yourself a nice little 100/100 token. And then you can give it unblockable and swing in. And that's the cool thing about that. Let's say that we go for a Phyrexian Rebirth. We destroy Temmet. Temmet only costs 2. We have that token on the battlefield. The following turn, that token doesn't have Summoning Sickness anymore. You can simply just cast Temmet to give that token unblockable. Temmet doesn't have to have haste to make sure that token has unblockable. So it's a really good card for the for a control style deck like this. We're running Descend Upon the Sinful, Delirium, exile all creatures, then Delirium, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying if there are 4 more card types. So this is another one of those. It's just a smaller version of Phyrexian Rebirth. The main thing is it does have flying, so it's a little bit, it's different from each one, but with Phyrexian Rebirth you can kind of go big beat sticks. With Descend Upon the Sinful, it allows us to get into this game plan to where we're going to be slowly swinging in for 5 a turn, and we can start chipping away at their life total with a 5/5 angel after Temmet's ability. Elspeth, Sun's Champion, good way to generate 3 soldier tokens and kind of make sure the board, those big creatures stay off the board. We can kind of destroy them. Most of the time you get down to Elspeth, it's just, if we have something like Secure the Waste or Entreat the Angels, we're pretty much always going to be able to protect her. So these are kind of the token things. We're also running Stolen Identity. This is going to allow us to copy our opponent's creatures and make sure that we have a nice little token that we can make unblockable. So create a token that's a copy of target artifact or creature. It can be our creatures or our opponent's creatures. Then it has the Cipher ability, which works really well with Temmet's unblockable. So we're going to be able to get that token. Let's say that we Stolen Identity a Primeval Titan, or actually let's go Inferno Titan. Let's say we stole an identity an Inferno Titan. We're going to get a token of it. We're going to be able to make it unblockable. It's going to get that trigger swinging for 3. Then we're going to get another copy of it. So really good card in the deck, and then it allows us to not just be on a game plan of, we have a Phyrexian Rebirth. We're hoping to get a big horror token where we can go Stolen Identity. Doesn't matter what token we want. We can kind of choose whatever our opponent has offered up to us, so it's always good. Same thing with Shihili's Artistry. Choose one or both. Pretty much always going to choose both. Why not? It's free. Create a token of copy artifact, or create a token of a copy. Create a token that's a copy of target creature, and then it becomes an artifact in addition to its other stuff. So it's really good for the deck in that we can copy one of our opponent's mana rocks and create a copy of one of their big utility creatures, and then start going beat sticks with it. We're also running Phyrexian Processor. Enters the battlefield, pay X amount of life. Then create an XX black minion creature token where X is the life paid. So we get into spots where if we can kind of control it out, we can pay a really nice little chunk of life and have a nice little 10/10 or like a 15/15 token that's unblockable and coming in. We're running a lot of board wipes in here, so Mimic Vat's really good in the deck. Imprint whenever a non-creature token dies, which accounts for our creatures or our opponent's creatures. If you do, you may exile that card. If you do, it's exile with Mimic Vat. Then for 3 mana, create a token that's a copy of the card exile with Mimic Vat. It gains haste, exiled at the beginning of the next end step. So you get into the spots where, let's say we do blow up, and let's use Inferno Titan again. We blow up the board, we exile their Inferno Titan. It's going to have haste. We can start making copies of it and kind of go from there. So pretty good. Right of replication, create a token that's a copy of target creature. Our creature, our opponent's creatures doesn't really matter. We're just going to create a copy of it. And we have enough mana, we can go for kicker 5. But usually just 4 mana, just needing a token of one of their good creatures is good enough. And we're also running Dance of Many. Enters the battlefield, create a token that's a copy of target non-token creature. Whenever it leaves the battlefield, exile the token. And then whenever the token sacrifice Dance of the Many, then we have an upkeep of 2 blue mana. This is one of those ways for us to, once again, it's just cheap way for us to, we're having to pay 2 each turn, but it's a good way for us to make sure that we have a threat that we can start swinging in with. That covers all the token stuff that we're running. Let's go over to the control basics. These are just some of the highlighted cards. We're running Wrath of God. Kind of want to show off the invocation card I picked up. Pretty cool. Looks good. Running Counterspell in here. Sphinx Revelation, really good card in the deck. Excuse me. It's one of those... basically, your game plan is just kind of blow the board up and then wait till you can draw into Sphinx Revelation, tap out, gain a bunch of life, draw a bunch of cards, and then rally from there. Running Swords of Plowshare, we're going to send some people back to the farm. Recruiter the Guard, really good in the deck. It allows us to search up a whole suite of creatures, Stoneforge Mystic, Sad Robot, Burnished Heart, and Phyrexian Metamorph. So let's say we want to go double sword pieces, then we can use the Recruiter of the Guard to search up for some key human pieces, or key card pieces. Basically, it's based off their toughness, and also search up Trophy Mage. We covered Temmet. What he does is roll in the deck token enablers, Voltron package, token spells, and control basic. That is the deck in a nutshell. I have 3 gameplay videos for you up right now, so be sure and check those out. And if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. All right, bye. Have a good weekend.